Welcome to our next adventure with Chemology 411, a podcast about anything and everything. Kim and her guests will take you behind the scenes, behind the story, or behind the bar. So sit back. Make sure your seatbelt is fastened, tray table in its upright position, all carry-ons stored under the seats. But for this adventure, electronic devices must remain on, as we are ready to take off on our next adventure. Introducing Kim Schultz and Chemology 411.
Welcome to episode 12 of Chemology 411. We are here continuing last week's conversation with the positive versus negative, and we're going to be talking about smiling and all those good things. And so we're going to go ahead and just start with the ending of our last show, and we're just going to go on from there. All right? My name is Kim Schultz, and I'm your adventure coordinator for this show. I'm going to say hi to my co-host, Tyson Harley.
Super quick, yeah. So, a little bit of behind the scenes. We have been here long enough to have watched a Lord of the Rings movie.
The trilogy.
not the trilogy, but... So anyway, the point is that means we were having a good conversation, and that's why we wanted to split up the episode. So I'm ready to go back. I did just want to say hi real quick and give that little snarky comment.
Awesome.
As is my way.
Yeah, so like I said, this is going to take up after we were going to a commercial on last week's show. We decided an hour and 45 minutes was probably too long, so we're going to go ahead and cut it down. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, welcome back to Chemology 411. I hope everybody's in their little positive mood. I know we are. He's just staring at me, playing with his hair.
Yes, of course, we're positive. We're having a good time. We've got some good material. We're positive. She said,
positive.
Sometimes she's like, stares at me like, take it away, Tyson. And I'm like, I got nothing. I'll just let it be silent and smile stupid for a little bit. Anyway.
So you were saying at the end you had a couple little things that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I got some summarizing thoughts, and then just as a quick tease, the physiology of smiling, which if some of you guys have read some self-help books, you've probably seen this, but it really is fascinating. So we'll get on that. I pulled an article on that, and you said during the commercial break that you'd heard of such a thing and were aware.
Definitely, yes.
But you had some stuff before that. So.
Yeah. So the thing that I was going to talk about is, we're talking about positive and negative and all that kind of stuff, and I think some of the times when people are going through some problems and other people are trying to get them through it, instead of trying to help them, they use that positive word. They use the P word. It's like, you need to be positive. You got to be positive about this. You got to be positive. There's always something positive. And
it's almost like there's another way to say that.
I know.
Where to get the same thing across. Go ahead.
Without using the positive word, because there's really nothing positive. So my first marriage, it was an abusive, mentally, physically, cheating and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't all negative, but when I was in that relationship, I literally told my best friend everything that was going on so that I didn't go mentally crazy. And the positive stuff, the bad stuff and stuff like that, I want people to realize that it is okay to get that stuff out. Talk about it. Tell somebody about it. There's nothing wrong. You're not whining. You're not whining and whining. But what I do ask is that you remember about the positive and you seek help and you try to remove yourself from the situations. Whether it's abuse of a relationship, abuse of an employer, bullies, or anything like that, when something is really bad happening to you, I believe that there's the negative part of it, but you have to, when I asked you a while back, do you think you have to work on being positive? I believe you have to work on being positive sometimes. And you're in a bad situation, if you've got an illness or someone in your family is sick, I want you to realize that being positive, it does make a big difference. It's not always easy.
Even as you're working through that negative, you mean?
Yeah, I'm like, just remember that you are worth having something positive happen to you. And a lot of times we get drugged down by these really bad negative things, and it's okay. And if someone tries to make you feel like shit or makes you feel horrible because, so I have a friend and she comes and she's just like, my husband's cheating on me, or my boyfriend's cheating on me. And so as soon as she realizes that he's cheating, you've got two options. Are you going to fix it and stay, or are you going to leave? That's it. There's nothing else. I mean, you can't murder them.
Sometimes you just got to make a decision instead of lolling between the two.
Correct. But you have to figure out what you're going to do, and you need to have someone in your life that approves that decision. So they say, I'm going to stay. You're going to stay in the bad relationship, or you're going to stay in the relationship and you're going to try to make it better because you deserve to be happy.
So you're saying, or as part of what you're saying, and tell me if I'm misstating, that part of the positivity is to remember your worth and that it's worth therefore getting through the exercise of this instead of being down in that valley.
And to remember that you're worth it. So when you're tackling this thing, and first of all, you don't want to have a friend that goes, get rid of him or stop that. Now, if he's beating the crap out of you, you need to go. Like, you really need to go. Easily said than done. Where do I go? I don't have a family. I don't know where to go. I don't have anybody here.
So you're saying, like, be careful with that friend, or try not to be the friend that just has that immediate, I know what you should do and this is what it is.
Right.
And it's as simple as that.
There is not a simple solution to any sort of negative thing going on. Even at your job, if you've got an employer that is doing something, even if there's like sexual harassment or gender harassment or whatever harassment's going on, and you need to be able to go to your friend and realize you're better than that. You don't need to deal with that. But the answer isn't quit your job right now, be unemployed, and lose your house. I mean, there's steps too that you have to do it. So you need to find the right person, and you need to realize that if this situation is causing you negative effects, you need to figure out how to get to the positive. How do I get there? And that is what you have to work on. And so that's when everybody's trying to be so positive. We have so many people going through so many negative things that you said that sometimes we're not even paying attention. We're not even seeing it. I have the best marriage in the world. My husband would never cheat on me. He would never abuse me. And then someone comes to me and says, this happened to me. I'm only being able to give you on my relationship and how I think I would react. But reality is when she says, my husband was cheating on me. Oh no, with your husband. And then all of a sudden now I'm part of that problem. The answer probably isn't as easy anymore because now I have to deal with something bad. So you have to remember when you're talking to someone, first of all, not everybody's advice is good advice. But if you're helping someone who's going through a negative thing, you need to try to figure out the best way for them with their options to get them back to positive. And that person needs to realize that positive is a better place to be. But everyone goes through negative. So
and there's steps.
There's steps
so it's
to
not
it.
just a big brand. It's actually a journey.
And exactly like you said, in being a successful business, you don't read a book that goes, open up a business, get a Facebook page, boom, you're a millionaire.
This book was short and easy. It's going to be great.
This is so easy. That's not the way life works. And so there's tons and tons of books out there about every possible topic you can possibly want to read. And that's great if you have the time and you want to listen to the books, but some of those books are not good books. Like, they're not for you. So not every book fits you. So you read a book and you're getting a feeling like, stop and move on to another book, because everybody's different. When I was going through my first marriage, we were together for 10 years, except he was gone for probably 5 or 6 years because he had moved to St. Louis for a job. And before my daughter was born, it was cheating, it was mental abuse, it was physical abuse. Then my daughter was born, he moved away, and her and I finally were by ourselves, except we were still married. I still did all my stuff, at home. I raised my daughter. She was 10 months old. He came back when she was 4. And by that time, there were 3.5 years of him being gone that I was able to tell myself, you deserve what you had when he's not here. And he cheated on me when he was away. That's a whole nother story. We'll talk about him on another whole show. But
oh hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We'll get down and because yeah. But anyway, I knew that I needed to get out. But I knew when I'm in an abusive relationship, I can't just go, I need you out of our house, because I didn't know if he would beat the crap out of me. You don't, when you've got someone that's unstable, and mind you, he's not like that,
but kind of what I said,
but
I can't remember if I said it during a break or during the recording, but when guys can be out of control and you're not sure where that may or may not
exactly
hit, what that limit actually is.
And I never want to push over the limit, because I didn't push and it was bad. So I didn't want to push over. So after 3.5 years, I was the one who said, I need to get out, and it's my fault. It's 100% my fault. I am so sorry. And of course he said, it is your fault. It is your fault. And I was like, you are right. I screwed up. It's all my fault. Now, I didn't do anything wrong, but I also knew him to be where if I was going to blame him for something, that's not going to work. I wanted out. And if you want out of a situation, you have to swallow your pride sometimes and say, it was my fault. It was my fault you cheated on me. It was my fault that you hit me. It was my fault that you mentally abused me. I don't care. I want you gone. So whatever I have to say, that's how I chose it. And it was the best way. I mean, it took forever to get divorced. And
sometimes diplomacy, not honesty. Like when your spunky girlfriend says, and another thing, you should tell him off, blah, 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 blah. It's like,
right.
How about we find a happy medium here? So
right. Well, and
we have less drama without the victorious speech up front.
And you don't need to win that. You don't need to win every battle. My winning was getting my daughter away from an abusive person. That's how I won. And so, that's how it is. So I knew that I deserved to have a positive life. There was nothing positive happening when you're scared to death what's going to happen. That's not a thing. But it took me years to figure that out, and I kept it calm and where it needed to be. So when it comes to being positive, sometimes you don't know what someone has gone through in their life, and I try to be as positive as possible. And a lot of people, if they knew what I had dealt with, because it's not open and it's not like I talk about it because it's my past. And I would talk about it on here, but I don't bring it up because I don't care. I'm who I am today and not then.
Right.
But I want people to realize that if they even knew half of what I did, they would wonder how I get up every morning in a positive mood. And I'm like, because I choose positive. I choose happy. I choose to do this. Doesn't mean I'm positive every minute of the day. Doesn't mean I wake up negative some days, but I try to work it out. So I just want people to realize that a positive life is the best life if it is genuine and it is worked for and it is done on the right time.
Conscious, it's almost like it's another word for you saying genuine is also, I say conscious as in, how are you doing it? You have positive strategies. And at some point, in some regards as to that, and I mean kind of like, let's say you are negative, how do you get out of that? What are your strategies to become more, on the general term, negative?
Correct.
How do you get out of that you wake up in a, this bad mood type of a situation. And then how do you move forward just as a progression in life as opposed to, I'm stuck back here and this is all I'll ever be, that type of thing.
You have to know that with work and a plan, you can get out of almost any situation, and you have to do it the right way. And you probably want to do it to a way that you're not murdered or killed, because that just kind of sucks.
That's negative.
That's negative.
It's genuine negative.
Genuine negative. So anyway, what else do you have for us?
Well, it's just kind of a wrap up, and then the interesting thing on the physiology of smiling. So let's see how much of this stuff is stuff that we haven't already talked about. So, we've been talking about not to think positive blindly, but then I just thought of, simple strategies that I know sometimes I fall into these negative habits. And, try to catch yourself being mean to yourself.
Right.
Okay? Because if you're a perfectionist, or you just think it's kind of like the car thing, I'm alone, nobody sees me being vitriolic, it's okay, I'm not hurting anybody else.
Right.
So when you're not hurting anybody else, well, guess who you are hurting? So another way of looking at that is, and in that same regard, then not only you stop being mean to yourself, but praise yourself.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be crazy, but start to work that in, right? Start to praise yourself. You did something good today, and I think you obviously do that with your
my
all kinds of
affirmations. Yep.
Yeah, but with your card and everything else, your business card. But so if you can work away from, well, I'm a perfectionist and I know I was a real idiot today and that took way too long, and start going, you know what, that was actually pretty good work. Just take if a good boss remembers, and I think guys and people who got straight A's in school, like me, have a hard time going, well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do, right? But then at some point you kind of mellow out and you realize, yeah, but people like just that simple, honest praise.
Right.
So if you can say, you know what, I really liked, I thought you got to the point, and nice presentation. It doesn't have to be an award. It's just that you thought of something positive for that person, and it was honest.
Right.
And do that for yourself. And do you do it enough? And I'm not saying you, I just mean people in general, right?
You mean me.
Yeah. And another way of putting that is be as nice to yourself as you are to others.
Right.
Like if you would go, I would never say that to somebody. I can't believe that person said that. Do you say that to yourself?
Yeah.
Possibly. I'm not saying you, but I know I do.
I do. When I make a mistake, I'm like that. I'm like this. You are an idiot. Why would you even do that?
And part of you goes, hey, I'm tough. I was in the Navy. Not you, but
right.
I can handle a little bit of, hard discipline. It's okay. And another way, do you ever, kind of saying the same thing, but do you ever scold yourself so mean that if you saw someone else scolding someone else that badly, your jaw in public, your jaw would drop open?
Yep.
So think about that. I know we were talking about false positivity, but I just thought it was a related topic and things I've thought before, right? Do you ever really scold yourself badly, internally, talking to yourself, your internal talk? And that's the time to think that's genuine positivity. You're trying to get away from that.
Right.
At least catching yourself, being aware of it.
Exactly.
Going, Tyson, be nicer to yourself.
Right.
You're worth it. Be positive about yourself to yourself, right? That type of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And just little things like the negative talk that's not even so much scolding yourself, but just ugh, I hate getting up this early. That type of thing, right? It's just negative. And if your little brain, your monkey brain swirling around was a more happy monkey,
right,
then you'd be a happier monkey,
exactly.
Right? All these little things oh, it sucks out here. It's too dark to exercise. I don't want to go to the gym. I haven't gone to the gym. Another thing I'll do is if you start to have you start to fall off of some goal, then you get on yourself about how you gave up on it, and then it builds on itself. Instead of just going back to it, instead of just dropping it and going back to it, it's dude, that could all stop today. You know how you started doing the bad stuff by not doing the positive thing? You could just go, you could solve that today, man.
See, you scold yourself, and I justify it. I'm like this. you know what? I'm not supposed to eat after 8 o'clock, but I'm freaking hungry. I'm going to have ice cream. You know what? It's okay. I mean, I worked out today, and I start justifying all of these bad behaviors.
Well, there is such a thing as going ahead. If you do it, don't beat up on yourself over it.
We will talk more about that in the next show.
Yeah,
when
but
it
then
comes
adjust.
to
Yeah, exactly.
New Year's resolutions.
And then what's another thing? Just simply is you got real positivity, fake positivity, real negativity, and also just what's that? If you're being negative of yourself, but what if you're like, oh, I want to be friends with that person because they're kind of loners and they're really negative. You have to really make that decision.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to be around that person? I mean, I don't know can you coach them? You got to be careful with that.
I pull myself away from nonstop negative people.
And the other thing that in along this line, I kind of said it, but treat yourself. I mean, write what has happened in a given day, or treat yourself.
Right.
What good happened today. Like maybe before you go to, but you can see these in any kind of number of self-help books.
Right.
Maybe that's your journal entry. What happened good today?
Yep. It's your gratitude journal,
or at least acknowledge it, even if you don't write it. You know what? Let me before my head hits the sack here. Let me just think for just even a few minutes. Mm-hmm. Did I do some good things today? What were they? Or was the day nice in general? Yeah, sure. So those are just some of my summarizing thoughts on that I thought kind of were related. And the last thing, I just thought we could talk about this physiological effect of smiling. Now, the big thing is, even back to Tony Robbins, and I remember reading this for the first time, and my mind was practically blown. And the whole idea is that not only do you smile because you're happy, but it works in reverse. I know this sounds so superficial, and it's like, what do you know? I've had a bad 6 months. I am just telling you that I'm not saying it solves your problems.
No.
At all. And I'm not saying it's, if you just smile for 24 hours a day, your life's going to be great. But I can tell you that anybody can tell you, and there's been studies about it, that if you purposely just smile and you hold it for a while, all of a sudden, you go ahead and smile. Uh-oh. Kim's trying to frown. Okay, what was our example during the commercial break? Let's say, whatever your favorite comedian, let's say Kevin Hart has a new special, and you are just dying because it's new, it's fresh, and you like Kevin. Think of how much, your cheeks hurt type of smiling. Mm-hmm. And now do that. Like almost a maniacally smiling. It's so just, I want you to do this after the podcast.
Like a Batman smile.
Almost like a, I mean, it's like, why are you smiling so much? If you do that for 90 seconds, I'm telling you, after 90 seconds, you're practically giggling. Mm-hmm. And at least for that moment, and you have to apply it where you apply it, but that can be small stuff. Like you said, what was your hashtag?
My hashtag is Just Smile, JUSTSMYL. That's my email address. That's everything I do is
because
just
you
smile.
Also said you know
I
that
smile
you go
all the time.
You go into a room and that can make other people smile when you smile at them.
And I have cute dimples.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah. So. Yeah, you go into a room, you can obviously give those vibes to other people, and smiling is the most direct. It's like a laser. And your eyes have to do it as well. Like your mouth is smiling. You're going to find this very interesting. But your eyes have to smile too. They have to be positive. So there is that. That's the summary of what I've read in a Tony Robbins and other books like that, and then I'll be darned. Sometimes I've tried to teach this to my family, and I'll just smile at them stupidly for 60 seconds. And they are laughing like you're laughing, because how can you look at someone and they're just smiling at you stupidly?
Because people look around when I'm smiling, and they look around at Walmart, because I just smile at them. If they're having a bad day, I can tell. So anyway, there's a study also interestingly connected to the University of Kansas just down the road, where this was, hold on a second. So in this study, this was, there's two different sections, but I'm going to go to the one about the study from the University of Kansas people.
and is a psychological scientist over in that direction. And what they did is there had been studies around smiling and stuff like that. But what they did is try to experimentally manipulate the types of smiles people make in order to examine the effects on stress. All right, so they said there's a couple, to your point about the types of smiles, they said there's different smiles, and one of them is like the mouth smile. You know, like, smile, you're on, and then there's also something, I don't know how you pronounce it, Duchenne, but anyway, that's where your eyes become involved. Where you're smiling not just sideways, but all the way up to your eyes, you know? And it's so that's more like the genuine smile, like if you really were watching Kevin Hart and someone took a picture of you and you're just dying. So somehow, this is interesting, this is weird and makes me smile, they use chopsticks so they could get these people to train to do these different types of smiles. And so the reason they did this is that some people, but only half of the people, they used some 169 people for this study, and there was at a local university, which I imagine, or a Midwestern university, must have been KU, and they learned how to do this, so they had a training phase, so that when they then told them to do these different tasks, they could tell them, by the way, make that smile. So some of these were genuine smiles.
I could have been so good at that too.
And other ones were, please make that smile now. And so some of them included, so they had to hold chopsticks in their mouths. And I think if you think about it, it must have been that, first of all, they said chopsticks, it would go more vertical if it was the eye smile, probably.
Right.
And go more, side to side if it was just a regular smile. So they use these chopsticks to kind of get them trained on how to smile. And then they specifically had them create neutral facial expression, or resting
bitch face.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyson face, but you took the words out. Or a genuine smile. And when they did that, then they were given these tasks that were actually meant to, be stressful. And when they did that, then they saw differences in how their bodies actually reacted based on whether they were smiling or whether they were forced to smile versus Duchenne, or if they had the neutral. And their bodies physiologically, they reacted in entirely different ways.
That's awesome.
Based on how they were smiling. So, yeah. So that there's more to it than that. There are other studies that say that type of thing, but that one specifically even went to so what would happen is, what if you're happy while you're doing this weirdly stressful exercise? Well, instead, they're saying, no, I don't care if you're happy. In fact, it doesn't look like you're happy, but I need you to do that smile I told you to do.
Right.
So you see how it's more directly measuring, is it the smile that's making them physiologically react in a different way? Not that they're already physiologically happier.
Right.
And therefore they are smiling.
Yeah.
So there is science behind that. And I'm telling you guys, and you should tell us on Facebook, if you've never done it, it's one of the funniest and funnest things ever. I mean, I don't know why I don't do it more, but literally you don't even have to go in a mirror, although that's hilarious. If you just, wherever you are, by yourself or not, just get the biggest, oh my gosh, I just got, I don't know, you're 5 years old and got absolutely the bike you wanted to and that wanted to get for Christmas.
You picked
and
the
you
bike.
you had the biggest smile you could possibly have because you were absolutely overjoyed. So it could be one of those overjoyed smiles. It could be one of those, this is hilarious smiles.
Right.
Hold it for 60 to 90 seconds and just tell me how you feel afterwards. I mean, it's almost a giddiness. I mean, there's regular smiles, and you can just do the regular smiles will do it. And again, it doesn't take your problems away. But if you just your doldrum, if you're just kind of So what I tend to do is go, why would I smile? I'm trying to be humble over here. I'm not going to be sitting smiling all over the place. Be a regular humble person. So then I just find wake up in the morning.
Yeah. When some of my meditations make me smile. It'll just say
I have some where it says try to put on a gentle smile as you're whatever you're working, whether it's focusing on the various what's the names? Anyway,
chakras.
The chakras. regardless, just put that slight smile on your face as opposed to a neutral.
You can feel
expression.
your whole body changes when you're doing it, and then it says, now smile, and you smile, and you're just like, it's just like weird.
So that's one of those things where you kind of think, well, that's a false positivity.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was kind of a related thing. It's like, isn't that false? In a way it is, but in a way it's like, well, but if it changed your physiology,
Right.
then isn't that about as genuine as you can get?
If you're getting a positive, if you're getting an internal positive, I think the difference is there's internal positive versus external positive. And if you're genuinely internal positive, that's awesome. But it's that external fake positive that I just...
Yeah.
It's just like, why are you doing this when you're acting as if everything is fine and it's not okay? And so that's where I just wanted people to realize that positive is better, and to try to be as positive as you possibly can. And that when you are struck with negative, figure out how to switch it around and realize it. If you like, every once in a while, I get myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, Kim, you have been negative all day, because I'm just in a bad mood. So everybody makes me mad. Everything is just, or I was around somebody who was negative, and I let them suck me in, as opposed to me putting up my shield like, not today, Satan.
Well, the other thing bad about the negative is that when you one of the things you learn when you're the smart kid, or at least think you're a smart kid, is wit and sarcasm is like, yeah, check how smart I am and sarcastic and witty. And it's like, a lot of that's negative. Like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Somebody walks in like, check out this guy with his hair. It's
right. Like those are negative comments. That's like, yeah. Like,
so is that
people
negative?
watching.
Or is that
is
that part of pulling yourself into negativity, or is that just like good old fashioned simple fun?
I don't know. You guys tell us what you think that is, because if you watch if you watch
check
comedians,
out this dude.
if you're watching comedians, all they're doing is making fun of people, but it still makes you laugh. So so they're taking negative things, making fun of them to make people laugh.
Sometimes it's themselves, but sometimes it's
them,
not.
Family, or whatever it is. And so I too am a little sarcastic. Just a little bit, but I maintain my sarcasm around people who understand me.
Little sarcastic. Little sarcastic.
But I hold my sarcasm for live conversations, or I could do it on here. I don't do it on Facebook.
So what's funny is that you think like I do my own little like bitter comedian routine in the car all the time. So it's like, but if I said it would sound mean. But if comedians say, it's funny,
it's funny. And the same thing with me is that I get away with so much because of who I am. I'll say something and we'll be talking about something and I'll go, well, that's because they're a bunch of freaking idiots, and people just crack up, and I get away with it, and somebody else says it, and they're just like, that's rude. And I'm thinking, because they know I'm just being sarcastic. Like, This is just how I always talk. And I might make people feel uncomfortable sometimes. And I'm just kind of like, oh, note to self, fuddy-duddy.
Yeah, but I can't remember what we got on that. But it's true. We were just talking about the, comedians.
Just being just smile and stuff like that. So, if you get anything out of this...
A lot of stuff to digest here.
Yeah, we've been
I feel like we've had a good amount of material.
I think so.
Maybe people have, ran their 8.5 miles when they meant to run 4 1/4.
We might have pushed them or got them to Wichita. 2-hour drive from Topeka. But yeah, so just remember, positive is awesome, but let it be genuine. Let it be from, for real. And if there's negative things that are bringing you down, try to figure out how to fix them so that you can have a true positive outlook on life. I mean, because positive is better, and believe me, better things will happen to you if you continue to try to do as many positive things as possible. But it doesn't help if you're faking it. I mean, you really need to analyze what's going on and be more positive than you are negative. But positive is always going to win out in my book. I would never tell no one not to do it. It's just that fake positive of someone continually telling me this and this and this and this and this, and I'm thinking, okay, you're not even getting it. Like, you don't even understand. You can get into politics when it comes to it, about people that believe that they're entitled and they're saying all these mean things, and they're talking about how bad you are on food stamps, or any kind of topic that they have their ideals and they have their beliefs on. They could be damaging some of the people that they talk to. Those people need to realize that they need to not pay attention to that and be positive and try to figure out and push those people out of your lives and try to keep positive people in your lives, but to realize that you can't just be negative. You can't just be positive. I mean, pee out it, whatever. So anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks, guys, for giving us your time. We appreciate our listeners and are excited that our show is so awesome. I mean, how can it not be awesome with me and Tyson? It's awesome. Make sure to comment on our Facebook group, Kimology 411, and make sure to join and share it with your friends. Thanks, Tyson, for helping make Kimology rock another show, even though it's like 2 hours. We talk a lot.
Well, maybe we need to break it into... But yeah, we do talk a bit, but I thought this has a good substance. Yes, you're very welcome. I enjoyed it. I think this is one of our better ones so far. So I do like this episode. I hope you guys do too.
Yep, so do I. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Please make sure to keep taking all your awesome adventures. This is Kimology 411 saying peace out. Well, it's that time of the year when we are overbooked and not enough time in the day to get all the fun things done. Holiday season is here, and do I have a great way to help you connect with family, friends, and even clients? Greeting cards used to be huge before technology came in and made so many things very impersonable. Then my friend Cody Bateman came up with a great product that would bring sexy back. Oh, wait, that was Justin Timberlake. Cody brought back greeting cards with a twist. Using an app from your phone, tablet, laptop, or computer, you can make a personalized greeting card for less than $5, including the printing, the stuffing the envelope, and postage. You just download our app on your phone, set up an account, and start changing the world one card at a time. Now that alone is awesome, but it doesn't stop there. You can also send gifts, like brownies, jewelry, toys, and much more, just with one click. My team would love to show you how to use the app and get you started today. This is also a great business tool to help build relationships, so everyone needs this app on their phone. The app is free, and you only have to pay for the cards and gifts you send. We do have monthly packages that bring the total of your heartfelt cards down to around $1.50. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description of this podcast and get started today. You can also email us, and we will set up a meeting to show you how easy it is to send personalized greeting cards. You can also send us your mailing address in our Facebook page, Selfie Cards Matter. We will send you a card. Let us help you make this holiday season the best one yet.